Welcome to the Feminine Truth Podcast with Miranda, a place where you can reconnect with your wild, cyclical, and fierce truth. I am Mary Miranda, a mentor, guide, healer, and intuitive coach. I guide women on a journey of remembrance, reconnection, and embodiment of their inner feminine truth. Join me each week to tap into raw, unedited, and unfiltered sacred conversations to help women tap into their inner feminine truth to become bold, unshakable, and apologetic in who they truly are. Let's jump into today's sacred conversation. Welcome to another episode of the Feminine Truth Podcast with your host, Mary Miranda. Today, I'm bringing you another solo episode about how to start healing from heartbreak. And it depends on the type of heartbreak that you are currently going through and experiencing. Is it a short-term relationship type of heartbreak from a situationship or something, or someone you were just dating, or someone that ghosted you? Or is it from a divorce from a marriage? Or is it from narcissistic abuse or some type of abusive relationship or a toxic relationship? Because that will define the type of healing that you need to do. But in general, I wanted to do a podcast loaded with information on how to start healing from heartbreak. And this is a lot of information, actually all the information that I have applied in my own journey, and it actually works because I have healed from many heartbreaks, from a divorce, from narcissistic abusive relationship, from a situationship, and from misogynistic and toxic men. And I really hope that what I'm about to share, it's applicable to you and you implement it and it actually helps you, because this is stuff that I've been wanting to share with women, and now I'm here and I actually created a course for this that I never launched. So I decided to just create a podcast, and hopefully one day I can launch the course again, and maybe somebody will be willing to opt in the course, because it's actually something that's going to be very, very stop, stop, stop.
Recording in progress.
Welcome to another episode of the Feminine Truth Podcast with your host, Mary Miranda. I am so excited to bring you another solo episode on how to start healing from heartbreak. And it depends on the type of heartbreak that you're currently going through, but I wanted to do a loaded episode on things that you can actually do and implement to help you start healing from your heartbreak. So there's different types of heartbreak that you can probably be going through, and that's going to define the type of healing that you need, because not every heartbreak is going to require the same type of healing. If you are healing from someone that ghosted you, or like a short-term relationship, the type of healing is going to be very different than from someone who was abusive, like narcissistic abusive, emotionally, psychologically, verbally, physically abusive. Like the type of healing in those two heartbreaks, even though the emotions are still very painful, can be very different. So we want to validate and acknowledge that both heartbreaks are still painful and very, very, very hard to get over sometimes, but the healing is going to be different. But I wanted to do something that can help anyone that's going through a heartbreak. But of course, if you require something that has a lot of trauma, by all means, you need to seek the adequate professional help for that. And there's also heartbreaks from divorce and other things like that. But I just wanted to do a episode loaded with information of things that have helped me on my own journey. I have healed from narcissistic abusive relationships. I have healed from a divorce and a marriage. I have healed from someone that was very misogynistic, racist, sexist, and just truly like a horrible person. and also like on the narcissistic behavior tendency end. So I have also healed from someone ghosting me. So there's like a spectrum of heartbreaks that I have healed from and moved on from. And the more that I heal, the shorter amount of time it takes me to bounce back from that heartbreak or from that pain or whatever it is. But this is everything that I have gathered in my entire journey since I started healing and since I started becoming aware and conscious. And I basically broke down my healing journey into phases. Like there's like a healing phase, like a cleansing phase when you are healing from a heartbreak. So there's like the detox phase, you're cleansing everything. And then there's this integration phase. During the healing phase, there's like a lot of information, things that you're learning. So during the integration phase is when you are kind of integrating new things and you are like adapting to a new life without the person. And then there's the embodiment phase, which is when you are truly feeling healed and flourishing. So it's more like a heal, flourish, and bloom type of phase. That's the way I break it down. But basically, let's get into the episode. So the first thing that I put is that you have to remove the focus of the person that you are healing from, off of your ex, and turn the focus on you. And this is where we need to find an anchor. We need to find our why and your reason why you need to heal. And it has to be more than the pain that you are experiencing, because that is so valid. Like you don't want to be feeling this horrible pain, this heartbreak, but your why has to be more than that. Your why has to be because you are so worthy of happiness, because you deserve amazing love, because you deserve to feel like you're glowing. You deserve like the best in life. Like your why has to be something that anchors you and motivates you every single day on your healing journey, because there are going to be days that feel really hard. So what will happen if you don't heal and start healing today? What is going to happen if you don't start healing today? What do you desire to feel? How do you imagine you will feel and your life will be once you are healed? And this kind of anchors more into your reason why you need to start healing. And the second thing, and this is where a lot of people have a huge difficulty, because this is the phase that is the hardest, and this is the detox phase. And this is the phase where you need to block, you need to go no contact. And this is the phase where there's the chemical withdrawal, because the person is no longer there. And this is probably one of the hardest phases ever, because you are literally going through like a drug withdrawal. Your body is taking this in your brain as a drug withdrawal, like a drug addiction withdrawal, because you are no longer getting the dopamine fix. You are no longer getting the chemical fix from this person, the oxytocin, the serotonin, the dopamine, everything that comes with this, with the roller coaster of emotions, or everything you were going through with this person. You are no longer getting that chemical fix. So your body is going to be craving that. So you are going to be going through this chemical withdrawal. This is why there's this anxiety, desperation feeling that you want to stalk them. You want to see what they're doing. You want to know about them. You want to check on them. You want to check their social media. You want to ask about them. You want to know how they're doing. You don't want to block them from social media. But this is just going to prolong the pain. So you need to wean off of the chemical fix and the dopamine, because this is just short-term gratification, and it's not going to help you move on and heal from this heartbreak, especially if their relationship is over. So this is also, I understand if you have a child with this person, the co-parenting, it's sometimes is not possible cutting contact. So you need to apply what is best possible and only keep communication around children if possible. So this phase can last, like the first days are going to be the hardest. I find that for me, it has been like the first 2 to 3 days are the hardest, are painful, are just full of anxiety, desperation, frustration. It can go up to 7 days, but for me, it's usually the first 2, 3 days are the hardest, and it starts feeling better. But those are the most intense days, and then the intensity lessens and lessens and lessens because I block people. Like, I do not give them access to me, and I don't want access to them. I don't check on them. I used to at some point, but I was younger and I learned better. And I don't do that anymore because I don't want to feel the anxiety, the desperation, and the pain, and the small gratification that I get in about knowing about them, because that is just like a short-term gratification. Once, let's just say, you stalk them and you check on their social media, the relief that comes in your body is what happens when you get that drug fix. Like, it literally, your body kind of like calms down and relaxes, but it's short term lived because you are going to need that fix again because your body is going to go through the withdrawal process. This is why this phase is so intense, and this is where discipline comes in, and it's so hard during this part. So there's things that you can do to help you during this part, because each time you have the urge to get that dopamine fix, to get that chemical fix, you need to start feeling your feelings. And this is where the famous thing of you need to feel your feelings, you need to just sit with your feelings comes in, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. So what happens is that you turn the focus on you. When you get that urge to check on them, when you feel the anxiety, the desperation, when you feel like you cannot take it anymore, you need to sit with those feelings, or literally close your eyes and feel those feelings. Where in your body is that pain? How does it feel? Is your body constricted? Is your body caving in? Like, is it in your chest, in your solar plexus, like, or like below your chest, like around your digestive system? Like, where in your body are you feeling that anxiety or that pain? Like, what is going through your mind? What is going through your body? Like, get connected with your body. This is where the bottom up approach comes in, where you reconnect with your body, because we are so used to being so much in our heads. And this is where the top bottom approach comes in, that we are so much in our head that we're so disconnected from our body. So when we get to feel our feelings, we are turning from a bottom up approach. We reconnect with our bodies, we feel our feelings, we acknowledge our body and our feelings. And there's a tool called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, where you tap in different meridian points in your body, especially your upper body, your torso, your face, and your torso. And that literally helps you relieve the anxiety and the desperation. That has been my lifesaver, especially because I do struggle with anxiety, not just about heartbreak, like anxiety from like being sensory overloaded, or anxiety from this, or anxiety from that, from like so many things. That has been my life changer, like my lifesaver actually. So if you are experiencing some type of desperation, anxiety, you want to check on them, you just want to, like, you feel like you cannot take it anymore, EFT is a game changer. I do have some videos on my TikTok about it, but I can do more. I'm willing to do more videos specific about some situations. But if you go on YouTube, just do EFT or Emotional Freedom Technique or tapping, and a lot of videos are gonna come up about it. I do it very specific. So the way I do it is very specific, that it's very fast, it's very effective, and it literally helps like super fast. So let me know if you want specific videos. Send me a message on TikTok or Instagram. All my social media links are going to be in the show notes. So that is one phase that is going to be really hard in the first days, and this is going to be the chemical withdrawal phase. The next thing, obviously, like I said, is feel your emotions. We already talked about the EFT. There's other modalities that you can do, and the bottom up approach versus the top down approach. The top down approach is basically what a lot of psychotherapists and therapists use, which is there's like talk to therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. Bottom up approach is a lot of what somatic therapy, embodiment therapy is. And this is, I'm an embodiment coach. And what I do, I help you reconnect with your body at the same time that you are doing the healing work. So there's other types of healings that you can start doing to help you heal from your heartbreak. So there's energetic modalities that you can start doing to help you, where it's EFT, there's also Reiki, there's womb healings, there's soul retrieval healings, there's regression healings, there's hypnosis healings, meditation healings. There's so much healings that are on the somatic level or energetic level that you can start doing to help you heal at an energetic level, because sometimes it's also energetic. And there's also cord cutting that you can start doing to help you detach from this person at an energetic level. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, especially if you had intimate relationships with this person. Your sexual energy is sacred, and you have this sexual energy of this person still in you, in your yoni, in your womb, in your body. So you need to cleanse that energy as well. And you need to remove the cords, not just cut the cords. You need to remove the cords from the root. You need to rip the cords from the root from this person, so you are no longer attached to this person. And there's also this thing that you can be linked to this person from a past life, so that's another situation. But energetic healings and somatic healings, returning to your body and doing the work, because a lot of times also somatic work is work to help you remove and release the trauma that's stored in your body, because maybe there's trauma stored in your body from this relationship that's also very important to release. And I do have videos on my TikTok about this, so if you want to go ahead and check those out. And the next thing that I want to talk about is the grief stages. And what people need to understand is that every day is not going to be the same. Every day is not going to be the same. One day you can feel so good about this heartbreak and moving on, and you can feel healed. The next day you can feel like in grief. The next day you can feel anger. The next day you can feel regret and shame. And there is like some stages of grief that are very well known by Elizabeth. I think her last name is Kubler-Ross. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. And people have extended from the 5 stages that she initially came up with to 7 stages. I tweaked it to my own understanding and based of what I have gone through and the stages that I came up with, because I was going through this like up and down, up and down. Like some days was good. The next day I was down. The next day I was up. And then it was like I was all over the place, and I didn't understand why until I looked at the grief stages and I understood that not every stage was going to be the same. And sometimes you can go through all the stages and come back to zero because something got triggered, and then you have to do the work, but it's not going to be starting back from zero. You just have to do a little bit of work, and you bounce back to feeling good again. But the stages that I came up with for my own understanding, and this is not me trying to came up with my own stages, no, but this is something that I actually experienced. So it's the first stage that I went through was the shock and denial. And this was specifically more for narcissistic abuse. And it was the shock and denial because I didn't understand what had happened. I didn't understand. I was like, I didn't see it coming. I was blindsided by the whole situation. So the shock and denial, that's the first stage. The second stage, what I experienced, which is the chemical withdrawal stage, which is the anxiety and desperation, the chemical withdrawal phase that nobody really talks about, but that is an intense stage. The next stage is the anger, rage, hate, and resentment, and that comes in full blown crazy. And if you do not do the work to release the anger, sacred rage and anger practices, it's just gonna stay stagnant. This is where somatic practices to release the trauma from your body and also sacred rage practices, sorry, are so important to do. The next stage is depression, pain, and grief. And I find that under rage and anger, there's a lot of sadness and depression. And for me, after I released a lot of the anger and rage, everything just was grief and sadness and pain. And after that stage, it was the bargaining stage where I thought I could bargain, I could change things. The next stage was a lot of regret, was a lot of shame, and was a lot of guilt. A lot of regret on this stage. The next stage is acceptance and hope. And the last stage was the flourish and bloom stage where my spark was back. So these are a little bit different, but these are the stages that I experienced. And some days I would go back to the anger, and then I would go back to the bargaining stage, and then I would go back to the anxiety, and then I would feel like the flourish again. My spark was back, and then I was back into the anxiety. And I found that it was very inconsistent. It was very inconsistent for a while until my healing started becoming very consistent. My practices, my rituals, my meditation, then everything started feeling better in my life. But those are some of the stages that you can start experiencing. So don't feel any shame. Don't feel bad. Don't blame yourself. Don't beat yourself up if at any moment you are fluctuating or you are going from one stage to the next. Like, all the stages are valid, and just because you are digressing, it doesn't mean you're not moving forward. It's just part of the healing journey. Every healing is different, so you just have to be kind, compassionate, and give yourself grace when you feel you're going back on the stages, because it's a normal part of healing from heartbreak. Okay, the next thing I have, and this is going to be such a game changer for you. It's the ex relationship inventory. And this was a game changer for me because this helped me understand my patterns in relationships and why I kept attracting the same type of men. And I realized that this is probably going to be a loaded episode, and I'm probably feeling very pulled to do a separate episode for each of the things that I'm talking about. I'm gonna see how I feel about that. But if you want for me to do a separate episode for each, let me know, because that would be so cool if I do one, because I understand this is very loaded, but I just wanted to do one with a lot of information so you understand how to heal from a heartbreak. Okay, so the healing for the ex relationship inventory. So the first thing you're gonna do, you are going to write a list of why you deserve better, especially from the person you are trying to heal from. You are gonna write down a list of everything he did that was wrong, that was hurtful, that really impacted you. And those are the reasons why you deserve better. He cheated on you. He treated you bad. He emotionally abused you. He did this to you. He made you feel this way. Everything you can think of why you deserve better. Even if he was financially abusive, meaning that you were the one paying for everything, or he was a liar. Anything that you can think of, put it on this list. And every time you get that chemical desperation, you want to check on him, you're thinking about him, or you miss him, which is honestly missing this person, even though this person has hurt you or has emotionally abused you or whatever this person has done to you, is a normal part of heartbreak. don't feel bad if you miss this person, because that is something that can be very shameful, to miss someone that has hurt you so bad, but it's a normal part of heartbreak in this process. And every time you miss this person or you think about this person, read that list, and that's going to help you focus on what you deserve better and reprogram your subconscious and your mind that you deserve better and you don't deserve that treatment. So I did that list, and I actually still have it from 2010, 2012. I have that list somewhere in my notes, and I put it everywhere. I put it in my room, I put it in my fridge, I put it everywhere I can think of, in my wallet. And every time I needed the list to be accessible to me, because I needed to reprogram myself, and I needed to remind myself every moment I missed this person that I deserve better. And that helped me so much keep my focus on why I deserve better, because I didn't deserve to be abused and to be treated the way he did. And the second thing is that you are going to gather the relationships that were the most emotionally charged and impactful. Maybe 3 relationships. Like, you don't have to go super like 5 or 10 relationships. Like, the most impactful relationships, like the most emotionally charged, the ones that cause the most pain for you. And we're going to do an analysis of those. So, what did they hurt? So, the analysis in those relationships is going to go somewhere, something like, what did they do that hurt the most? Everything that they did. What did you wish they had done differently? Like, things that you complain the most about. So, what we want to do with this, we also want to do their characteristics, the things that you liked about them, the things that you didn't like about them, their qualities. And the thing that we want to get out of this list is the patterns. We want to see the consistent patterns in those 3 or 4 relationships that you're doing an inventory of. Because if you keep attracting the same type of men and the same type of relationship, you are going to realize that they have the same qualities. They did the same thing. They hurt you in very similar ways. You probably nagged and complained about the same things to those people. And this is the most valuable knowledge that you can get out of those relationships. And this is what's going to help you understand your patterns so we don't attract the same people again. And why is this important in understanding how to heal from a heartbreak? Because we don't want to fall for the same people again. And if we are experiencing heartbreak, we are going to make the most out of this damn heartbreak that we are going to heal. We are going to become baddies, and we are going to use this heartbreak to become the best versions of ourselves. And in order to do that, we don't want to attract the same type of dusty men. We don't want to attract the same type of men anymore. So we need to understand our patterns. So this is where, in order for us to heal and become our best versions, we also need to take ownership and responsibility. And this is not our fault. I'm not blaming anyone, but there's also things within us that come from childhood that I'm going to explain in a little bit as to why sometimes we attract or we fall for this type of people, you know? So, after we do this inventory, after you understand the patterns and you see the consistency, you kind of like see like, oh my gosh, like they all were tall, they all were good looking, they all did this, they all cheated on me, they were all unfaithful, they all emotionally abused me. I literally put everything on Excel, and I actually have a TikTok about that because I showed it on TikTok. And I was able, and I made a profile of this person, and I called it my wounded mate. And this is my wounded mate, and these are the qualities of my wounded mate, because they were all the same. This wounded mate of mine was literally the same person, just a different name. It was literally the same person again and again and again. And I was able to understand why I kept attracting the same man. And it helped me heal my heart faster, because I'm like, okay, if I dated the same man again and again and again, and this is the pattern, I just need to stop. I need to heal the pattern so I can stop attracting the pattern. I need to stop being attracted to the pattern. So, what is, and it's also like you can also go along and go farther into the analysis as far as you want, if you want to get to know and get more introspection, get more understanding into yourself. What is something you hated them doing? What is something that you can't forgive them for? What is something, some of the consistent patterns they all have? Like, you can go so far, but we want to create a profile of the men that you keep attracting so you no longer attract them, and the patterns. We are looking for the patterns. And at the same time, we want to create the opposite of the men that you desire, so you can compare the men that you keep attracting, which is the man that has mistreated you and broken your heart, versus the men that you truly desire and deserve. So we want to also focus on this so you know what you deserve and what is possible for you. And when you look at the man that has broken your heart, the man that you don't deserve, the man that has hurt you, you can see that. The next thing I want to talk about is turn the focus on you. And this is one where you need to take a hard look at who you are being in your life and see if you are happy with who you are right now. Are you happy with your life? Are you happy with where you are in your life? Are you happy with your mindset, with your emotions, with your body, with your heart, with your health, with your finances? Are you happy where you are in your life? There is a wheel of life that you can go and Google, and you can take inventory of each area of your life, and that can really help you make an assessment of each area of your life and see where you are. And as you are healing, and as you turning the focus on you, and as you centering yourself, a lot of times when you are in relationships, you tend to abandon yourself, you tend to neglect yourself. So when we are turning the focus on us, we also need to take care of the relationship we have with ourselves. And that is centering ourselves again, putting ourselves up in a pedestal. So we also need to create a desire list of what is the ideal relationship you desire to have with yourself. Create a list of what would it feel for you if you had an ideal relationship with yourself. And a lot of times, like, you're gonna realize that you probably don't have a relationship with yourself. You're probably so disconnected from yourself. And if you aren't, that's amazing. But a lot of times we neglect ourselves when we are in relationships. And a lot of women do this, but it's okay. When we are healing, we're turning the focus on us. So now it's time for us to take care of ourselves. And I also did a podcast. I think it was like a few weeks ago, Decentering Men. Go and listen to that, because that's also going to help you as you are doing this healing journey and healing from the heartbreak and healing from men. You also need to decenter men. So that podcast and that information is actually going to help you as you are healing from your heartbreak. And make also part of turning the focus on you is acknowledging what are your values, what are your standards, what are your non-negotiables in relationships. This is where you get to also redefine the relationship that you desire, how you want to feel in a relationship. What are your non-negotiables? Which are the things that you won't negotiate? Which are the things that you won't compromise on? What are your red flags? What are your deal breakers? Things that you won't settle for? Things that are a no, no, no. You also have to take those into consideration. So whenever you are ready, you are going to know your standards, your values, exactly what you desire, how you want to be treated. And it's going to be so easy to filter the men that don't belong with what you desire and are not in alignment with that. And the most important question, and this is not so much to turn the focus on them, but a lot of women they don't want to do the healing work of the heartbreak. But let me ask you a question. if your ideal man, if your ideal person showed up today, if you say you are ready for them, if you haven't done the healing work, if your ideal match came today, if your person came today, would you be ready for him? Would you be fully ready for that person in body, mind, and soul? Or would you be sabotaging their relationship? Would you have trust issues? Would you have doubts and fears? Would you be waiting for the other shoe to drop? Would you feel, or or do you feel you have healed your relationship enough to the point where you could be a good partner, where you could be in a healthy relationship? And obviously, we all, when we enter relationships, we all have work to do. It's a new person, it's a new dynamic. So it's all, it's still like you still have to create a relationship with a new human being. So there's still going to be conflict, but are you in a good place to be in a relationship? And that is one of the most amazing questions that you can ask yourself. It's like, if he showed up today, would you be fully ready for that person? And a lot of times it's like, no, I just want to be single. I just want to take care of me. I just want time for me. I just want to heal. And when you are in that place that you are choosing to be single by choice, that you just want to be in a relationship with you, that you just want to heal, it is so empowering because you are not going to settle. And you're like, yeah, even if he came, I just want to be with me. Like, I'm okay. And if you're like, no, I'm not ready, and that's totally valid. Or if you're like, yeah, if he came today, I am ready for that person. That's amazing. Like, I am at the point right now that I do feel ready to be in a relationship, in a conscious, healthy relationship. But at the same time, I love being in a relationship with myself, and I love my lifestyle. I love that I'm still working on my financial goals, my business. I'm still in a relationship with me, and that needs to process emotions and pain. I know that's very loaded, but when we are trying to heal from a heartbreak, when we are trying to heal from past relationships and everything, a lot of times we also have to consider our upbringing and the relationship we have with our caregivers. We also have to consider what is our truth about love? What do we believe about love based on how we were brought up? And a lot of times our conditioning and our programming and our limiting beliefs and everything that we were brought up has a conflict and kind of has a subconscious programming, and that is the reason why we keep attracting this type of men and relationship, especially those relationships on the toxic end, narcissistic abuse, those men that are emotionally unavailable, those type of relationships. A lot of times it's because of the belief systems that we have. A lot of times it's because of our core wounds, because of our unmet needs, our unprocessed emotions and pain from childhood. And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of women are like, why do I keep attracting the same type of men? Why do I keep attracting the same type of men? And my heart keeps getting broken. Well, babe, we need to go and make an assessment of upbringing, our conditioning, our programming, and everything that has to do with our childhood and our relationship with our caregivers. What was the relationship with your dad? What was the relationship with your mom? What was their relationship like? What did you experience growing up as love? What was your relationship like with your dad? Was it emotionally available? With your mom, was it emotionally available? And also, like, this is where the attachment theory comes in. What was your attachment with your primary caregiver? This is also where everything goes chaotic. Like, did you grow up with someone where you develop an anxious attachment or an avoidant attachment? Is this the reason why you now have an anxious attachment and you keep attracting people with an avoidant attachment? So there's a lot of things that we have to consider when we are doing the healing work and we are opening and awakening to our subconscious and to this world, that there's a lot of things that we need to clean up that were not our fault, that we grew up with, that we were conditioned with and programmed with, that it was not our fault, but unfortunately it's how we were brought up, and now it's our responsibility to heal from. And and the most important person that you need to heal is your inner child. And your inner child healing and reparenting and making her feel safe and be there for her and not abandon her is going to be the most impactful thing that you can do for yourself. Because a lot of times when we are healing from a heartbreak, especially someone that you were blindsided by, that they ghosted you, or they just wanted a divorce, they wanted out, or they just like ended the relationship and you were blindsided and you felt abandoned. What happened in your childhood that you also felt abandoned? What happened that you also felt rejected and that you felt unlovable, not worthy of love, not enough? Or and this also comes up a lot, that you like, maybe you were in a relationship that nothing you ever did was enough. Nothing was ever good enough. You tried, you did everything, you overfunctioned in the relationship, you were always doing, and it was never enough. What happened in your childhood that someone made you feel that nothing was ever enough, and you ended up growing up overfunctioning, being a perfectionist, doing it all, and being type A, go getter, and always you thinking you had to be the one doing everything because otherwise you couldn't rely on anyone else. What has happened in your childhood that has led you to consistently attract the same type of patterns? And this is where inner child healing work is going to be a game changer for you on this journey of healing from heartbreak. And in order to do child healing work, we need to become aware of our core wounds. We need to become aware of our unmet needs. We need to become aware how our inner child was raised, how our inner child was hurt, how our inner child was made to feel not safe. And we need to learn how to be there for our inner child in ways our mom and our dad was not there for our inner child. So you have to become your own mom and your own dad and reparent your own inner child. Literally, you have to become to your inner child what you didn't have growing up. And I think that's one of the things that's going to be a game changer in, and not just healing from heartbreak, but healing from many things in your life when you do the work to heal your inner child and healing your unmet needs. Just think, what needs were not met as a child, and how can I meet those needs? And this goes beyond, I was never allowed to play. Oh, I'm going to take my inner child and myself to play. This goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. It's like, what happened when I was sad? Who was there to hug me? Who was there to soothe me? Who was there to tell me, I love you? Everything is going to be okay. You're enough. Who was there to give me just a hug? And that is going to be the most healing thing that you can do for your inner child. Because if you were the type of child that you cried yourself to sleep alone and nobody hugged you and nobody soothed you when you were in pain, that you are going to be the woman that cries and alone and doesn't ask for help and doesn't have a support system. And somebody has to, you have to know that people, you can rely on people. So when I was doing this work, I had to teach and be there for my inner child, and I had to learn how to soothe my inner child and hug my inner child when I felt abandoned, when I felt rejected, when I felt judged, when I felt unlovable, not worthy, unworthy, not enough, all those core wounds. I had to find ways to be there for my inner child at an emotional level. I had to hug myself. I had to rock myself. I had to tell myself words of affirmation. My love languages, I had to give those to my inner child. Everything that I wish a partner did to me, I have to give that to my inner child. Everything I desire my parents to give to me or my siblings, I have to give that to my inner child. Everything that I desired my sister to give to me, I have to give that to my inner child. And in turn, I have a niece who I adore. I have four, but I have one that's the eldest. I treated her and I treat her the way I wish I treated my inner child and somebody treated me. And that helped me heal my inner child. And in turn, somehow I stopped needing so much from men because those needs were being met by me. And you still need those needs met by other people. That's co-regulation. That's very healthy. That's still very having interdependence in another person because you're in a relationship with another person. Of course you want those needs met by that person, otherwise why would you be in a relationship with them? But it's not going to come from this deficit, from this lack. It's going to come from this place of fulfillment, of this place of co-creating this beautiful relationship, and this place of like, yeah, some days I'm sad and he has your back and you trust and you feel safe like that. And it's not going to come from this place like you feel this hole and this void and this emptiness in you if that person doesn't give it to you, because this is what happens with the heartbreak. That person goes away and you have this unmet need and you have this core wounds, and that person was feeling the void by their presence. And when that person breaks up with you and leaves, you feel abandoned, rejected, unworthy, not enough, or whatever they were feeling the void in that space within you, because you don't know how to give that to yourself. So when they leave, if you feel empty, you feel like you can't survive because that person was just feeling that void. So we have to learn how to feel that void ourselves through doing the healing work for our inner child. And we have to start from the root, which is our inner child. And when you do that, you feel that space and you learn how to feel whole and complete within your own skin, within yourself, within your soul, within your heart. So you don't really seek this people wounded mates. You don't seek the same type of patterns, toxic patterns, based on everything of the men that you have attracted, on the profile that you have created. And you start attracting the men that you desire because you are doing the inner work to heal. And this is why I wanted to create this podcast and this information. I know it's very loaded and I know it's a lot of information, and I am not going very detailed into everything that I desire because it's a lot of information, I understand. But there's things that I wish I can go more in depth, but it's going to be a lot of information and I don't want to overwhelm you. But once you start healing your inner child, once you start fulfilling your unmet needs and heal them and your core wounds, once you start becoming your own mother and father and reparenting your inner child and raising your inner child literally again, you can also do forgiveness letters to also release that energy. And forgiveness, if I don't believe, and this is very controversial, I don't believe you have to forgive others yet. That can happen maybe one day in your life. The most important person you need to forgive is yourself. Is yourself. That's the most important person, for allowing too much, for staying longer than you should have, for not loving yourself more than you should have, for whatever it is. Forgiving yourself, for feeling shame, for feeling guilty, for condoning betrayal, for whatever. That was one of the hardest things for me, because I was one of the type of women that said, I'm never going to allow someone to cheat on me. I'm never going to stay with a cheater. I did for 4 years, and I kept condoning it, and I kept going back because it was narcissistic abuse and trauma bonding and so many things that I'm not going to go into details. But I'm fully healed from that relationship. I'm fully moved on. It's been It's been a while since I don't think about that man. And I am delighted that I don't think about that man. So healing, it's possible. Let me tell you that. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is also like as you are healing, and it's very important to also regulate your nervous system. I do have a podcast. Go back to episode 18. I did a podcast with my guest Will. It's about polyvagal theory. But a lot of times when we are healing, where especially when we are going to the dopamine detox, the chemical detox phase, we our nervous system is very dysregulated, right? So we need to regulate our nervous system. We need to regulate ourselves and come back to this window of tolerance, of safety, of peace, and be in our parasympathetic mode and be like calm and open to communication, to connect with people, and not be in these big fluctuations between being in paralyzed, in freeze, and then be in sympathetic mode, which is the fight or flight. So go back to that episode because it's gonna tell you the different types of the polyvagal theory. When you are in the ventral vagal, which is the safety, which is the parasympathetic, the calm, settle, you want to talk, you want to connect. When you are in the sympathetic, which is the hyper arousal, where you are very like fight or flight, survival, anxious, anger, when you are just like you just want to kill someone pretty much. And also and irritated, like that's, and frustrated, and you have fear and worry and you're overthinking too much in your head. That's basically where the heartbreak phase is all about. And there's also the dorsal vagal, which is the hypoarousal, which is the freeze, which is associated the depression, the numb, the shutdown, the trap, the paralyzed, where the heartbreak and the healing, it goes in those two. So we need to be able to have a flexible nervous system where we can come back to the window of tolerance. And it's good to be in the sympathetic and have some level of anxiety and come back again, and have some level when you are in meditation to be at a place of calmness, but also like be able to not have those strong fluctuations. So go back to that episode because that's also going to help you. And that's also going to help you when you are activated in your attachment style, in your anxious attachment style. That's also going to help you ground back and come back with some practices. And lastly, I also want to talk about reconnecting with yourself and being a committed relationship with yourself. I know I already talked about it a little bit, but this is where you need to create, I call it the woman of your dreams. You need to create a list of who she is. You need to create your ideal woman, and you need to create a focus on her and who is she, and create rituals around her lifestyle. And this is where the embodiment practices come in, because you also, as you are healing, you also need to focus on becoming your best version. You also need to focus on supporting the woman you are becoming through all of this journey and this healing that you are going through. So, the woman of your dreams is the woman that you are becoming. Who do you want to be? How do you want to feel? Who do you desire to embody? What qualities? If you do, you want to be more confident? Do you want to smile more? Do you want to dress differently? Do you want to, and this is where, like, do you want to change your haircut? Do you want to learn how to do your makeup? And I remember when I was healing from my narcissistic abusive relationship in 2012, I didn't know how to do my makeup, and I barely wear makeup some days. But I didn't know how to wear makeup at all, contour, nothing. I hired someone to teach me how to do makeup. I hired people to teach me how to dress. Like, I didn't know so many things. And I'm like, I feel so insecure about these areas. And I'm like, I want to learn how to be more secure in that. And I was also very insecure in my body. I learned how to work out. I started fitness. Kept the lifestyle. I work out almost every day. I eat very healthy. I keep the lifestyle. I work on my body every day. I eat healthy every day. I meditate. I do Reiki. I journal. I read. I do everything I can to be my best version every day. Not because I don't accept who I am today, but you can accept and love who you are today while becoming and improving and desiring to be someone better. Like that is totally acceptable. So create your ideal woman of your dreams, which is you. It's still you. It's your higher version, it's your alter ego, whatever you want to call it. Who is she? How does she feel? Who does she embody? All the qualities. What is her ideal life? How does she lead herself? And this is one of the most important things. Since you're going through a breakup, you are going to have low days. One of the coolest things that I did is I wrote a list of how do I want to lead myself through a breakup when I have bad days, when I have low days. And I wrote down literally, if I am having a bad day, how am I going to lead myself through that bad day? And I just felt so empowered every single time I had a bad day because I had a plan. Some days I felt I wasn't all like 100% like on top of the game every time. But every single time I followed that list, I felt so more confident, so empowered because I followed through my word. I trusted myself. I believed in myself. I did what I said I was gonna do, and it just builds confidence, it builds courage, and it just helps you really, really achieve that vision of this alter ego, of this woman of your dreams. So write down in details, how do you want to lead yourself through this heartbreak? Who is the woman of your dreams, your alter ego, however you want to call it, diva, whatever? How does she feel? If you were already healed from this relationship, how would you be feeling? How would you be dressing? How would you be acting? How would you be living? How would you be doing your makeup? Would you be doing your makeup every day? Would you be going to the gym every day? And this is where the embodiment piece comes in. Embody that as much as you can. Not every day you're going to be perfect, because remember, the grief phase, the phases fluctuate. So some days, this is where, how do you want to lead yourself through your heartbreak on those days? It's so important, because even on those days, how do you want to give yourself grace when you don't feel like getting ready? Do you give yourself 2 hours, 3 hours to mop around, to have a pity party? One day to scroll on TikTok, 3 days? It's up to you. You are the one negotiating your own terms and your contract for your happiness and for your life. And the next thing that also helped me and is going to help you is to focus on your goals. Focus on a project. And this is not neglecting, because you are doing the healing work. You're feeling your emotions. You're healing your inner child. You are not neglecting the inner work and everything. If you need to also seek a therapist, please, or a coach, you can also DM me on that, or a psychotherapist or a professional. You can also go and find someone to help you. But I'm going to say something about that. Make sure, if you have trauma, make sure it's someone that is trauma informed. If you are healing from narcissistic abuse or emotionally abusive or abusive relationship, make sure it's someone that is trained and knowledgeable about healing from abuse. Because when I was healing from my abusive relationship, I went to a psychotherapist clinic thinking that they knew about it, because the owner actually knew about it. He wrote books, he has a YouTube channel, and I couldn't afford his services because it was out of pocket and I had insurance. So I ended up with one of the psychotherapists in the clinic, and she completely sided with my narcissist, and I felt betrayed. I felt like she sided with him because he wanted to have a conversation with me post breakup, and I said, I'm only willing to talk to you if you come to a therapy session. So he did. And during the therapy session, he wore his aviator glasses the whole entire time. And at the end of the therapy session, she completely sided with him, neglecting everything that I had come to her for, everything that I had shared with her about my relationship. And I felt betrayed. I felt, I just felt betrayed, and I never went back to her. And I'm not gonna go much into details about that. That was years ago. But from that experience, I never went back to a psychotherapist or a therapist. I decided to go to coaches who were trauma informed, who have lived experiences similar to what I was going through and have moved from those and healed and could understand and helped me. And I saw their journeys and I saw that they actually healed and were happy now. And I'm like, I want to learn from them. I want them to teach me how they heal from that, because the psychotherapist was all talk therapy. I felt stuck. I felt like I was not healing. I felt so stuck. So, my advice is to find someone that is knowledgeable, trauma informed, is knowledgeable about attachment theory, is trauma informed, like I said, knows about narcissistic abuse and the stages and the impact, and is also about somatic work that can help you tune into your body. And for me, there's very little psychotherapists that I know that do that work. They do exist, but you have to really look for them. And going back, I digress because I went off sidetrack. Make a list and focus on your goals. Focus on a project. Focus on something that is going to help you move forward, whether it's writing a book, whether it's you want to become a yoga instructor, something that you have been wanting to do forever and you haven't. This is going to help you have an ambition and an aspiration. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to read books. Like, set a goal, anything you want. Or maybe you want to travel. Whatever it is, set a goal. Maybe you want to go out with more friends or make more friends. Find a way to make your goals or focus on a project, because that's also going to help you keep your mind busy. But make sure you're not keeping busy to avoid doing the inner work, because that tends to happen a lot. So I hope this has helped you. I know it was very loaded. I know it was a lot of information. I just wanted to bring up everything that has helped me. And like I said, I'm probably going to do a podcast for a few of the things that I went through, because I know a lot of them require more in-depth analysis, more in-depth exercises, technical things that I can say, things that you can just do on the spot. Especially with the EFT, that's not something that you can just listen on the podcast and do. It's something that you actually have to see on a video how to do the exercise. But I wanted to bring something, because every time I listen to how to heal from a heartbreak, like it doesn't help me. It doesn't help me, and I'm like, that doesn't help me. So I'm not sure if this is gonna help anyone. I just wanted to create something that could help someone, and if this helps someone, that I have done my job, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful for you, and remember, make the list. You deserve better. If you're healing from a heartbreak, I feel you. I've been there, and you got this. You can move on from this, and you deserve so much better. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation on the Feminine Truth Podcast. This podcast is for you, for me, for us, for the Feminine Collective. Thank you for spending your time and energy with us. I so appreciate it. Please, it would mean so much if you could share this in your Instagram stories, in your Facebook stories, or everywhere so this message gets spread and others can find this podcast and this conversation. And if you feel like someone needs to hear this message, please share with them. I would be so grateful for you, and let us know your thoughts, how this has helped you, how you connected with this topic, or how this has felt in your body. And lastly, if you feel the pull, I would be immensely grateful if you could take the time to leave a review so more people can find my podcast and this conversation. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next episode.